How does it feel when someone's better than you at something you use to define yourself?
Bro, what happened? You said you were good at games.
For most of us, it hurts, and we rationalize it. I wasn't trying, well, I'm better at other stuff. They got lucky. For years, I'd perfected a way to shrug off losing at things I really cared about, but when a physical limitation threatened something I was good at, everything changed. In this video, I'm going to share what happened to my identity after I lost a core piece of it, but to do that, I have to explain who I was before it happened. During my college orientation, our dorm played an icebreaker, where we shared our major, a fun fact, and something we were good at. Since being gorgeous wasn't a major, I had to use that for the thing I was good at. And for my fun fact, I said that I'd played piano since age 4, because at the time, I had 3 go-to skills that made me feel exceptional: piano, video games, and writing. Piano, which I'd practiced for thousands of hours, video games, my greatest hobby, and writing, my strongest academic skill, were like the 3 legs of my self-identity stool. Self-identity stool. There's a self-deprecating poop joke in there? I don't know, I'll pin the best one in the comments. Anyway, since the overlapping Venn diagram of these 3 talents was pretty small, I learned a useful trick. I could protect my ego by identifying with the others when one of them got threatened. For example, you beat me in a piano competition? Fine, because I'm better at Street Fighter. You beat me in video games? Fine, because I'm a better writer. Your essay was better than mine? Well, I'm not aware of Jesus Christ having written any essays. Now, this delusional value shifting may not have been healthy per se, but it engendered an unwavering belief in myself that didn't rely on shrinking my perspective. You know, I wasn't deluding myself that it was fine to lose a poetry contest because only haikus, the poetry I'm best at, are truly art. Instead, I used 3 discrete areas of expertise to fail and grow while maintaining a healthy ego. Now, despite my passion for piano, I was an English major because I thought it'd be a safer career option, and I loved the idea of someday writing a video game story. But when I studied abroad for a year, I noticed something odd. And I already know what you're thinking, that's a really long time, didn't she mind?
Hey, what are you doing? Writing the jokes for my video. Oh, nice, let me see. Are you serious, dude? What? You make that pun every time. Isn't your audience sick of it? Oh, don't worry, look. 99% of my viewers aren't subscribed.
When I was abroad, I was busy playing Get Your Stomach Pumped, which I always lost because it turns out they score like golf over there. Oops. I wasn't playing video games and I didn't miss them. I was barely a student. I took a class on racism in the US so my final paper could be an autobiography. I hadn't even considered writing for fun, but I desperately missed piano. In my first month, I bought an electric keyboard and practiced almost every day. So, coming back, I decided to apply for a master's degree in piano performance at a music conservatory. My teacher and I put together my repertoire, which is a bunch of different pieces you need to perform to get in, and I began preparing. Do you know Steinway Hall in New York? They have a showroom where they let you try the $100,000 pianos, especially if you don't ask first, and around this time I visited, and this dude tapped me on the shoulder while I was playing. He was there with his family, and he said he was a piano enthusiast, which I guess is New York slang for unemployed, and he extended his hand and asked my name, saying, "I want to be able to tell people I met you before you were famous." He didn't know I was sitting at an automated player piano, but it made me proud and confident in my choice to pursue music professionally. After my trip, I returned to school and kept that moment fondly in mind while preparing for my audition. The excitement didn't last long, though, because by graduation, after endless doctor's appointments and physical therapy, it became clear I'd have to give up a career as a pianist. I remember going to my career advisor for the first time in the last few weeks before graduation, and he looked at me like, "What the f***?" Then, after grading my career test, said my true calling was being the hose that sucks up porta potties. So I did what anyone would. I approached a K-drama studio with my story. I mean, come on. Budding pianist loses ability to play right when things look good? Throw in some inter-class romance and that's a hit. Unfortunately, the angle between my nose and lips was 0.2% too steep for Korean beauty standards, so with my useless hands and a cute nose, I got a bit depressed. I didn't know what to do for work. I wasn't even totally sure who I was anymore. And people consoled me with stories of athletes who got injured, then discovered their passion for meeting KPIs and facilitating cross-functional collaboration, or people getting laid off, then starting essential oil empires on Facebook Marketplace. But I mean, at 21, it's not like losing something that's defined who you were your whole life galvanizes you. At least for me, it felt demonstrably like a loss, not an opportunity. Still, I figured that eventually the other parts of my identity would get get stronger until I developed something that filled the piano gap. So I leaned into writing and video games. I pretended to read Ulysses like I was an intellectual who understood it. I started a novel that has since become one of our generation's greatest pieces of lost media. I downloaded RPG Maker to develop the next Pokemon, but it turns out making games is more work than playing them. Who knew? Eventually I got a job as a writer, and I still played games, but I found that efforts to align more strongly with those parts of my identity just didn't work. I felt ambivalent about identifying as a great writer or lifelong gamer. Actually, if anything, that's a slur. And I'd received a lot of stoic advice. Don't attach too strongly to one thing. Diversify your identity. Don't tie your self-worth to your Overwatch rank. And I was hard stuck in plat, so that was good advice. And despite accidentally doing that, detaching from my former identities and reaching transcendence, I think it was actually worse. Because when I didn't attach my ego strongly to anything, my confidence shattered. Instead of delusionally switching between writing, video games, and piano to protect my ego, I stopped competing altogether. I stopped saying, it doesn't matter because I still have writing. When I tried and failed at something else, it was more like, if I failed, so what? And if I won, so what? On one hand, I understand the advice. Don't attach your self-worth to one thing because you won't be the best. And when you see someone outperform you, instead of feeling motivated, some people will put themselves down and give up. You don't want to lose a League of Legends game and think I'm worthless. Unless you're on my team, then I hope you do. But in my experience, attachment to your talents matters because apathy enervates confidence. I hedged my identity across 3 areas, sure, but those weren't the only things I was good at. It was a foundation that allowed me to explore and fail safely. And when I stopped caring as much, I lost the motivation to grow. Finding the right balance was key because hedging with too many things made me a dilettante, an indifferent jack of all trades. And with no identity, I struggled to grow. It took years to achieve that balance. I went back to school twice, I made career pivots, I developed new hobbies, and I broadened my identity to include more areas of excellence, many of them internal that others will never see. Occasionally, people reach out to me on an alumni portal and ask for advice. Of course, I turn them down because students can't afford my hourly rate. But hypothetically, if I were to mentor someone and they told me, I don't know what to do, I feel out of place and lost, one piece of advice I'd give is to work toward feeling competent at anything. It doesn't even matter what, because a lack of confidence destroys your opportunities, and it's easier to rationalize failure at a networking event when you go home and feel good about your digital art. So did I gain nothing from the acceptance and indifference I felt shortly after losing the ability to play piano? No, I got really good at acting morally superior and reading Marcus Aurelius during my ice baths. Also, letting go of things you might affect but can't control is a lifelong battle, so any experience is valuable, but growing from this transformation involved both acceptance and allowing myself to reattach to strong identities, and that's not something I think I would have ever cognized had I not lost piano. I've met people who in old age still talk about something that happened in their youth, their version of losing the ability to play piano, wistfully as the life that might have been. Like everything after was a waste. That's just really unfortunate to feel adrift after so long. It takes courage to reattach stakes to your persona, and I think the protection mechanism after a major identity loss is to withdraw. I found withdrawal to be pretty insidious though. Hey, if you want to see more of me, subscribe. And if you want to see more of me, click the link in the description and follow me on Instagram. See you next time.